Hello everyone who is watching a recording of this week's Growth Call. I'm Christoph Atteneder and I'm your host today. As always, I posted already the Google Hangout invitation link in the chat, so you can join us or me here in the Hangout. Or if you want to watch the live stream here on YouTube, feel free to post your comments and questions in the live chat on the left. Sorry about first that we had to skip last week's call because I was sick, but anyways, we are thinking maybe have alternate calls, a growth call and a tech call every other week, so we can maybe also cater more diverse topics to the diverse community. So maybe some in-depth tech sessions and regular growth calls for everyone. So our growth calls, like the one today, are about everything that helps growing the Bisq network. Bisq, if you maybe don't know it, is the only true decentralized exchange. And if you're interested in more details, please have a look at Chris' presentation here in our channel at the Chaos Computer Club conference. Today, I want to talk about the first results of our new feedback form, which was shipped with version 0.71. Also, I'd like to talk about everything else that happened in the last 2 weeks. It was kind of crazy as the Bisq DAO approaches is nearly finished. There's a lot of news to cover. And of course, I try to answer all your questions. Unfortunately, Manfred and Chris can't be here today. So if I'm not able to answer your questions today, we'll definitely do it in next week's call. So without further ado, let's switch to the slides. Just give me a second. I'm switching to the slides every moment. So, okay, I hope everyone can see my screen. Okay, if you already traded on Bisq, you might have seen already the congratulations pop-up after your first trade, where we asked you to answer our short survey on Bisq. So thanks for everyone who already took the time to answer it. It's really short, so I guess it might take just 5 minutes. But the feedback is really great we've gotten so far. It were 41 responses. I just got in another one, so it's 42. And we do get more every day, so keep them coming. And if you also want to give feedback, maybe why you didn't trade on Bisq yet, or why, we'd also love to hear from you in our community survey, which I will post right now in the chat. I will just copy the link. And I will also post it in the description below after the call as well. So let's get back to the survey. The survey itself, if you haven't seen it, it's a mixture of multiple choice questions and also free-form elements where you can send us your replies. And I try to compress your feedback into some charts as good as possible. So let's have a look at the first screen. So how did you discover Bisq? Actually, unfortunately, we didn't got lots of responses in the other section, so which is the biggest one. So we have quite a diverse channel how people get to know Bisq. Mostly it's about personal recommendations, as we see friends, colleagues. We all the search engine traffic we do get is quite specific. So people rather search for the Bisq exchange download client, so they do know already what Bisq is and want to download it. So it's the information and the discovery of Bisq is mainly about personal recommendations, which is good. The next question we asked was how would you feel if you could no longer use Bisq? The reason for that is to see if what we provide you is something that you really want to see. And that was kind of surprising for me. So 82% very disappointed. Normally in this kind of surveys, if you reach more than 40%, it's a good indicator that you already have product market fit. So if people get over the hurdle to do their first trade, they're really satisfied, and then it's actually quite easy to use Bisq. It's just this first trade that might be a little bit a problem for lots of users, and of course that you need to have Bitcoin to do your first trade as well. So let me see what my notes say. So yeah, next question we were asking, what would you likely use as an alternative if Bisq were no longer available? So there are alternatives, of course. There are lots of centralized exchanges and decentralized ones. But what we want to provide with Bisq is to have a possibility to exchange in a private way, in a secure way, and in a censorship-resistant way. And there are not so many options, to be honest. People also, that's probably why a couple of people say I probably wouldn't use any other alternative, as besides face-to-face trades, there is no real alternative at the moment. But still, the responses were quite diverse. So the biggest ones, of course, is local bitcoins, hodl from the DEX, just general other DEXs, and lots of centralized exchanges from Coinbase over Bitstamp and so on. I tried then to compress them a little bit, group them further, so that we see, okay, we have local bitcoins, hodl, and other DEXs, but nearly 50% would switch to centralized exchanges, which is kind of a reflection of the current market situation, that we have very mature market in centralized exchanges, but the decentralized exchanges need a lot of support and push to have the liquidity that there are lots of options if you want to trade private and secure. Of course, if you have any questions, just post it in the chat, and I always try to keep an eye on it and answer your questions. So the next question we asked, what is the primary benefit that you have received from Bisq? That was kind of surprising and not surprising. Of course, we do communicate that Bisq is the way to trade in a privacy aware way. It's decentralized, it's secure, but we really saw this was a free form field, and privacy is this big main topic for people to use Bisq. So security, of course, yeah, that's also a point, and the decentralization part, but mainly people who use Bisq are focusing on the privacy point and don't want to do any KYCs, and just on Bisq, nobody gets your data, your personal data. Only your trading peer might see, depending on the payment option, of course, maybe see your if you do a SEPA trade in Europe, you might see the name of the person you're trading with and the IBAN, but no one else will see this information. So that's as private as could be. If you want to do fiat to cryptocurrency trades, of course, if you do crypto trades on Bisq, you just see the address of where to send the other cryptocurrency to, and that's it. Then we asked if you have recommended Bisq to others, and if you say yes, how did you recommend it to others? So again, it's great to see that so many people who trade on Bisq also continue to recommend it, as they obviously like to use it, and they describe it in general. They describe it as it's the best way to do a really privacy-aware, secure trade if you want to do fiat to crypto trades. Then we asked, what type of person do you think would benefit most from Bisq? That was also a reason. The reason why we asked that, to maybe also cater the content on our website or in the client to more fit to the people who might have the biggest benefit. Most people say at the moment it's mainly for experienced Bitcoin users. That's absolutely right. As of course, it's never as easy as to do a trade on a centralized exchange, as you don't have this immediate sell and buy feeling from these exchanges. Although if you calculate the the transfer of your fiat money and to the exchange and then back and then check out the fiat money, then the time frame is exactly the same, or even faster with Bisq. But it's more easy to do lots of trades very quickly on centralized exchanges than on Bisq. And you need bitcoins at the moment to do your to trade on Bisq, which also is a hurdle for newbies. Of course, people, cypherpunks, people who are who want to trade in private and don't like to have governments or anyone else to track them down and to know everything about your activity. Then we have for small and medium-sized trades. So at the moment we do have some limits, which also comes up every now and then. Why we have these trade limits? We don't have trade limits. You can trade as much as you want. The only thing that we have on Bisq is we have limits per trade. So if you want to do if you join Bisq completely new and you have to create a payment account, a payment method, for example for SEPA, and then if you want to start trading, you can't trade immediately 0.25 Bitcoin. You start, I think it's a 0.125 Bitcoin in the beginning or less, just to prevent if someone has tries to use a stolen bank account and uses it and then there comes a chargeback a couple of days later. We want to prevent that this loss of funds is as little as possible and to make it as painful as possible for scammers to use Bisq to whitewash their money. Of course, people who want to do international money transfer and have limitation in the current system, that's a big point. And of course, in countries where trading of cryptocurrencies is forbidden, is also very interesting to use Bisq. Of course, you should always be aware that you don't do anything illegal, and we can't protect anyone if you do something illegal in your country. So make sure you know your risks you're taking. So how can we improve Bisq to better meet your needs? There we got lots of, this was again a free-form field where you could reply, and we got lots of different replies. Yes, easier to use. It's a good point. It is quite difficult to use for a first-time user, and we do have now two design or UX experts who are working on a redesign of the Bisq client, which in the first step will be mainly a new brand identity, which looks very nice, and which is the starting point for polishing the client to make it easier to use it the right way. So we will not cut corners on the cost of losing privacy or security, but we want to make it as easy as possible to do the right thing, to trade in the right way on Bisq. Liquidity, yes, that's the reason why we try to do the liquidity weeks every now and then. On some markets, we do have good liquidity, like Bitcoin Euro, Bitcoin Dollar market, and Bitcoin Monero, for example. But there are some markets, of course, which could benefit more from liquidity. In general, we try to help, but it's a community effort. We don't have payment accounts in every country, in every currency. So we really need your help to push your local market. But of course, if you want to push your local market, we are here to help. May it be support for new payment methods or different, or if you want to do some translations, and we should integrate them quite quickly. We do have a group of people who now already completely translated Bisq into Vietnamese, Thai, also polished a Russian translation, also added now Persian translation. So you can expect in the next release, which is not so long away, to have a couple of new languages available, and also currencies of course. Let me see, what else do we have here? Yeah. There was also a point to have the security deposit separate. That goes a little bit into the direction of proposal I want to discuss afterwards of the bonding, the Bisq bonds. Yeah, to have payment, to have multi-payment methods in an offer, so that you can create an offer and say, it's okay to pay me with SEPA and MoneyBeam, Revolut, so you don't have to create offers for every payment method you're offering, but just to have a kind of a multi-payment offer, which is also a nice idea. Then, one thing that also comes up every now and then, the possibility to communicate with your trading peer. That's something also that is in discussion. Open off. Yeah. Sorry that the labels are cut off a little bit. Open offers when being offline. So the idea was that you don't need to have your laptop with you all the time to have it open, so to have your offers open to be taken. This goes a little bit into the direction of the Bisq API, which is in development and very close to be finished, and also with another request, the mobile app, which is also with 12.9% requested a lot. There's something approaching, and I will talk about it just a couple of slides later. Yeah, and people also ask to buy Bitcoin without Bitcoin. That with the current trading protocol, it's kind of difficult. But yeah, we're always open for ideas how we could implement it in a good way. Lightning Network, SegWit, is not the same issue, but we do use Bitcoin J as a library for all Bitcoin-related stuff, and it's not super updated, so it doesn't have SegWit support yet. Of course, not Lightning Network support. But we are thinking about alternatives to switch away from Bitcoin J, or if you are a Bitcoin J developer or a Java developer and you're interested in helping, we're looking for someone who can push the Bitcoin J implementation of our fork further. Yeah, to get invoices for tax reporting, someone asked, and yeah, a web interface, simplifying backups. Yeah, and higher trading limits. This is something, we don't have a trading limit per se, but we have these limits on offers, and we do have different trading limits for different payment methods. So if you have payment methods where the chargeback is basically zero, or is zero for crypto exchanges, then the limit is 1 Bitcoin. So that's quite high. Yeah, so that's it for our survey. As I said, if you want to give us feedback, I post the link to the community survey in the description afterwards. Every feedback, we read through every response and discuss it on GitHub. Of course, you can also just go directly to GitHub, create a proposal, or create a GitHub issue if you think there's some other problem. We are really responsive, also on Slack, and happy to help. Yeah, I mentioned in the last 2 weeks that there was kind of lots of activity, and there was lots of activity as the Bisq DAO is nearly finished, not completely finished. We will do a release on testnet, maybe in August already. So that's quite exciting. And as we don't want to have lots of hard forks later on, we're discussing lots of ideas what we could do in the future with the Bisq DAO. And for example, there's discussion on off-chain trade protocol, so to not use the Bitcoin blockchain at all, or not completely at all, but not for the trade protocol, which would help for the problem if the trading fees go up a lot, or the mining fees go up a lot. To have a kind of an oracle where people can vote on anything that is put up there and could reuse it on anywhere else. Of course, I will post all the links to these proposals and discussions in the description afterwards. Yeah, and we're also discussing if you could simplify the fee model, as this is also something that comes up every now and then. How it is calculated. So we do have in the FAQs the formula, but it's true. It's kind of, it's not so super straightforward to understand how it is structured. In general, it's the amount you want to trade, and we wanted to penalize everyone who's trying to put out offers who are very far away from the current market price. So if someone puts 50% off market price, he will pay a lot of fees. As we want to have a very liquid market with a small spread, low price distance. But maybe it's maybe there was a solution for something that might not even occurred. So that's the reason why we're discussing now the fee model as well. Then there was long time discussion what can we do to not be dependent on banks and some payment providers. And of course, we're talking then always about face-to-face trades. And finally, Manfred took the time on previous ideas and implemented a first iteration. So if you are experienced, for example, if you have experience on local Bitcoins, on any other face-to-face trading portals where there's the possibility to do face-to-face trades, it would be great to get your feedback. If we're missing anything on our current implementation, I will also post a GitHub issue where there are some screenshots and explanation how we plan to do it. So any feedback from your side would be greatly appreciated. And I mentioned the mobile app. So there's great progress from Joachim together with Manfred on a mobile app, which in its first iteration will notify you, so you can bind your Bisq client locally with your mobile app, and there will be, for example, if the Bisq client runs on your PC and the offer is taken, then you get a push notification, encrypted push notification to your mobile device, and you can see that your offer was taken, and you don't need to sit in front of your PC anymore all the time. And this is just, and there are a couple of other smaller notifications out there in the first will be there in the first release, and we will try to put it step by step, make it more powerful. Maybe together with the Bisq API, it will be even possible to do a complete trading process with it. And as soon as we are in a state for testing it, so it also might be end of August, we'll put it out maybe for test flight or we use Android, the Android beta program, and you can try out the mobile app and help us to see if we have any smaller glitches in the release. Yeah, maybe before I mention the redesign, we got also the feedback from one user why not integrating Hellcache. We had this already in the past, and now we put it on our roadmap again, and we try to implement it as soon as possible, as it is also a great possibility to trade with it on Bisq. I'm not sure in which countries it is available. It's mainly in Spain and Spanish-speaking countries, but I think it's also available in a couple of other countries. Yeah, the redesign usability issue that was mentioned. We do work on the design front a lot now, and if you're interested, we have a design channel on Bisq, so on Slack. So if you're interested, just join the channel, and you will see that we make great progress. And to be honest, I think, what do we have now? July. I think end of August we should have complete redesigned Bisq client. So expect something on that front as well. So I will now stop the screen sharing. Ah, hi Felix. Didn't see
Hello,
that.
you're
Great. You just arrived, or?
No, I'm in South Africa. I just managed to make it in time too.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Do you have any comments on what I've presented so far, or questions?
Nope, looks great.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Also the redesign. Pedro is working on multiple fronts, and also together with Rodrigo, I think it will put Bisq onto a new level. So that's really great. If there are any other questions from the audience, just put it into the chat, and we try to answer it. One more thing, as the end of the month is approaching, if you contributed in Bisq, for example, if you have participated in liquidity weeks and you didn't get your BSQ token yet, don't forget to go to the Bisq website and file a compensation request. I will share my screen to show you how it is done. It's really easy. So I'm sharing my browser window now.
So many tabs.
Yeah, too many tabs. I'm a tab fan. So yeah, we have already one for July from Manfred. This is not the usual compensation request because Manfred is doing so much stuff. So let's have a look at the previous one.
Yeah, show a simple one. Show one for a liquidity week.
Yeah, here we have one. So it's small as that. Just write, I want to request 20 BSQ on this address. You get this address within the Bisq client. If you don't see the DAO's icon on the upper right in the client, just click Command or Control D, depending on the operating system, and then you will see the icon, and there you can access the Bisq address. You then just paste into this compensation request. Then on details, of course, it can be as little as that. It would be great for liquidity week, for example, write about your experience. What did you like? What didn't work? Just give as detailed feedback as you think makes sense, and that's it. And then on the first of the month, the voting period starts, where it goes for 3 days, where everyone who already contributed to the Bisq network can put their stake to vote for the compensation request. And if more than 50% of those who voted vote for your compensation request, then you receive the Bisq token. So it's really straightforward. Sorry, I just see that we have questions from Marco. Do you have any plans on creating a mobile implementation of Bisq? What would be the biggest limitation? I mentioned in the beginning, do work on the mobile implementation or on the mobile solution, let's say, on different fronts. So one, to have a full-fledged Bisq client on the mobile app without having any other backend technology is kind of difficult because of also performance reason and implementation reason. What we are started now, so there is a Bisq API in development, which can orchestrate and a headless Bisq client and to do the whole trading process on the server side. And then of course you could communicate to this Bisq API and do the complete trading experience. Of course, this is maybe a little bit too much for some users or for most users at the moment to do. So we, as a little step to this solution in the middle, Joachim started implementing a mobile app for Android and iOS to cover the notification part at the moment, which means that you don't need to host anything on your own. You just start up your Bisq client, then you take your mobile app, mobile device, install the app, pair your mobile device with the Bisq client. So it will be an exchange of some identifiers for encryption purpose. And then you can configure some notifications. For example, if a trade is taken, if your trade is taken, then you will get a push notification on your mobile device. So you can then just rush back home and continue to complete the trade, and also get, I think it's also price alerts. You could get notifications on if certain offers in your required currency and payment method is available. So there are a couple of things that can be done already with this first iteration, which might also be released already end of August. So stay tuned. And to do more, for example, to accept trades and this kind of stuff, it might be then a combination together with the Bisq API, which is also close on completion. And yeah, so just on the mobile, just to only install a mobile app and do everything on the mobile client will be quite difficult and might take time. But to do it on mobile should be possible in the near future.
Plus, in theory, you could build third-party services on top of that, right? Say you have, say you can have multiple Bisq mobiles acting on one server. So say you're a company that basically makes Bisq simple for third-party users and allows them to do it through a website, right? They could do the server-side part. Obviously, you have to trust them, so you're giving up something there. But if the ease of use justifies it, and if it's for small amounts, it might be worth it for many people.
Yeah, absolutely. Or for example, wallet developers who want to offer in the client also that people not only can just send and receive money, but also can buy cryptocurrencies via fiat money, could integrate the API and provide provide options for people to purchase cryptocurrencies.
In fact, you could even do a sort of scaled down version without all the Bisq options, where you are just a provider and you have your orders already there, and people don't need to see the order book or anything like that. They just see, oh look, you can buy here just by clicking at this price, and then they do the back end. I mean, it's not the ideal sovereign, independent, private vision for Bisq, but it might make it reachable for more people and increase the volumes and liquidities for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's always a balance between privacy and doing everything on your own, where everyone then in the end has to decide what's the way to go for him. But for convenience, there's definitely lots of stuff that we can do without not taking care of privacy or decentralization. Yeah, let's see if I have any other notes on my list. Yeah, if there are no any other questions, that's all from my side. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining, Felix. Have a good flight back home. and we'll see each other again next Thursday. See you soon. Bye.